Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Define disruption. What does it mean to you?
So disruption for me means when an industry's basis for how they operate is completely changed by somebody who does it very differently and for a different price. And as a result, all the customers of the old industry move to the new industry.
You meet a lot of banks and financial institutions as a part of your work.
Yeah.
What are the kind of leadership challenges that you feel, Indian financial services providers will face due to disruption?
I think the biggest challenge is about figuring out when you start serving the new world and how you continue to serve the old world. So as an example, if you look at the disruptors in financial services, what they've done is they've changed the model from one where you had to fill in a big application form to access a service to one where they simply check the details for you online and do it seamlessly. And many of the providers have been providing the people who have been keying in the big application form, and in the future that's not going to be required. But the questions for the leaders, how do you keep the focus from the old and the new, because your customers still need the old while you're starting to build the new. And so it's that shift that people need to manage.
As a consumer,
Yeah.
how will things change for me with my bank becoming a digital entity?
I think it's speed, convenience, and price. And I think you've already seen this with taxis, with Uber, right? So if you look at today, for many small businesses, being able to get credit is quite complicated.
Right.
They have to spend a lot of time with the relationship manager, they have to provide a lot of documentation, and even then they might not really get the amount of money that they need, and it's costly.
Yes.
Well, if you look at the new startups in this space, what they do is they can determine, without even you filling in an application form, whether you're creditworthy by looking at how your business is doing, how you're selling, how you're shipping, etc. And as a result, they can give you money faster, they can give you more money, and it's cheaper. And that's really why most people are going to switch to this new provider.
So how do you think the financial services sector in any economy, it could be an economy like India, change?
So it's going to be, I think, slow and then fast.
Okay.
Right? So again, I use the taxi analogy. I think a lot of the traditional transportation companies have not shifted
Right.
quickly to change their behavior to cope with the new entrants. But I think as they start to see customers changing behavior, they're going to invest to provide the same kind of functionality. The question is whether they're going to recognize it early enough before their customers have moved to the new providers.
So what kind of a role does technology play in digitization? Does technology drive it, or does digitization drive technology?
I would actually say it's behavior
Okay.
that really drives digitization, and technology enables a new behavior. So as an example, in the UK where I live, there's a company called Halo that does taxi cabs. And really, in the past, you had to walk on the street to look for a taxi. But you wanted a taxi, and if you didn't see one, you didn't take a taxi. So that demand always existed. By using an app, you can make the taxi find you, right? So the technology is an enabler for a behavior that already existed, which is, I'm trying to get the taxi to get to me. So I think that's what we should look at technology, because many of the technologies that actually have been around for a little while. It's the way they've been applied that is really the difference. Applied in a way that people's behavior is satisfied.
In that context, so far technology has been used to provide solutions for known problems.
Yes.
Do you see it actually moving to providing solutions to unknown problems?
I think that's a really good point. I think in a way you almost would say, can technology better help you predict when you're going to have a problem,
Yes.
as opposed to only help you when you know you have a problem? And you start to see that actually with some of these new style lenders. What they basically do is they can start to monitor your business, and they can tell you, because of the way you're currently expending cash, you will have a problem by the end of the month. So here is the loan, right? So that's a lot more embedded into your business than you get to the end of the month and realize you've got a cash shortfall and you look for money. And I think that's where analytics in particular will start to play a really interesting role.
So what is the biggest disruption that 2016 will see?
The biggest disruption in 2016? I think from a economy perspective, you can already see the headwinds, right? So the stock market is falling significantly because of the slowdown in lots of economies. So that's going to cause I think, many businesses not to invest the way they would. How that will then turn into the technology space, I think, is up for grabs for anybody. But I think what I believe is that many of the new entrants will have an advantage because people will be more price conscious and more interested in trying new alternatives because of the way the economy is going.
So as a consumer of banking and financial services, how do you see things changing for somebody like you or for me in 2016?
I think choice. I think you're going to have much more choice in terms of providers. I think you're going to see a lot more innovation from the big banks because they have to try and catch up. So I think good things for consumers.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.